I'm going to call this meeting of the board at 5 p.m. to order. Thank you, everybody. Roll call, please.
Trustee Chin Lau.
Here.
Trustee Aragon.
Here.
Trustee Gibson.
Here.
Trustee Silver.
Here.
Trustee Kwong.
Here.
Trustee Liu.
Here.
Trustee Wong.
Here.
Student Trustee Wong.
Thank you very much. There are no public comments on closed session agenda items, so we are going to recess the closed session. C1, Government Code 54956.9D1, Conference with Legal Counsel. C2, Government Code 54956.9D2, Conference with Legal Counsel. And C3, Government Code 54957.6, Conference with Labor Negotiators. We will reconvene shortly. Thank you. Talking too fast. to reconvene the regular meeting of the board right now at 6 p.m. For D1, report of action in closed session, there are a couple actions that the board took in closed session. For item C1, in conference with legal counsel on existing litigation, the board took action to approve a settlement agreement with a former employee, a copy of which is available for public inspection upon request. It was a unanimous vote. And then for item C2, the board unanimously took action to approve a settlement agreement in the pre-litigation employment matter with former employee Dion Miller. The settlement agreement provides for a release of all claims. A copy of the settlement agreement is available upon request. Those were the two actions the board took during closed session. And now we're going to go to roll call.
Trustee Chin Lau.
Here.
Trustee Aragon.
Present.
Trustee Gibson.
Here.
Trustee Silver.
Here.
Trustee Kwong.
Here.
Trustee Liu.
Here.
Trustee Wang.
Here.
Student Trustee Wang.
Here.
Excellent. We're going to move to our land acknowledgement. Trustee Liu, would you be willing to do our land acknowledgement?
Of course. Pasadena City College is a learning community within the indigenous homelands of people who have been known as the Gabrielino Band of Mission Indians of the Shishikonga Village and Quiche Nation. Tonight, we acknowledge the painful history of genocide and forced removal from this land on which we gather. We also honor the legacy of the African diaspora and recognize that the United States, as we know it, was built at the often fatal expense of forcefully enslaved Black people. We are indebted to their labor and the labor of many Black and brown bodies that continue to work in the shadows for our collective benefit. PCC and its faculty, staff, and students recognize that we are all simultaneously teachers, learners, and guests on these lands. This acknowledgement is a small part of an ongoing process of working to raise awareness about histories that are too often erased or forgotten, to recognize our place in this history, and to affirm our commitment to social justice, systematic change, and anti-racism.
Thank you very much. We're now going to move to the Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Silver, would you lead us in the pledge, please? Please stand.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve our agenda tonight?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Liu. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Chen Lao. Any discussion? Seeing none, we're going to move to a vote. Student Trustee?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Do we have any introductions or recognitions today? I don't believe so. Okay. We do not have any public comment on non-agenda items today. Okay, next to the minutes. Can I have a motion to approve our minutes for our last regular business meeting?
Move to approve.
Moved by Trustee Gibson, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Silver. Student Trustee vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All in favor, everybody?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, just checking. That was unanimous. Okay, we're going to move on to our board committees. Do we have any report out from our board committees? Not at this time. Okay, next is to our combined consent calendar to approve items F1 through H15.
Move to approve.
Moved by Trustee Silver. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Student Trustee Wong. Discussion? Okay, we'll move to a vote. Student Trustee?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Next is our personnel consent calendar. Approval of personnel consent calendar items I2 through I8. And Student Trustee does not vote. Do I have a motion to approve?
Just wanted to pull 6.
You want to pull 6?
Yes, on tenure.
Okay. We will pull that for now. And just a reminder to folks to speak into the mic so our
Yes,
AV
thank
can
you.
actually capture it. Thank you. Like 3 to 4 inches from what I remember being told. Okay. We'll
Fine.
pull I6 for now. Can I have a motion to approve the consent calendar except for I6?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Liu. Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Please, I need to
Aye.
hear your vote, otherwise I can't
Okay.
count it. Okay,
Should I do
you
my I?
wanted to pull I6, Trustee Aragon?
Yeah, I just wanted to say and acknowledge and congratulate our faculty that received tenure this year. That's why I pulled it. For Edma, this is what I have here. Edma, Stephanie, Alan, Jennifer, Greg, Amy, and Gregory. Correct? Correct? And that's why I pulled it. So I really, I know the process. It's a 4-year process. Welcome to your tenure status. And we just wanted to make sure we acknowledge them.
Thank you.
That's it.
Do you want to make the motion to grant tenure?
Yes, I'd like to move to grant tenure to these individuals.
Okay, moved by Trustee Aragon. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Chen Lao. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. On to our action items. J1, receiving the initial sunshine proposal for negotiations for the 2025 to 2028 contract period from the PACCD to the Pasadena City College Police Officers Association. A motion to approve?
So moved.
I will take the motion to be moved by Trustee Silver. Trustee Chen Lao as a second. Any discussion? Okay, we'll move to a vote. This one also personnel. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That passes unanimously. Thank you. Our next item, J2, the CCCT Board Election 2025. Oh, Vice President Gibson.
I'd like to move that we vote for 4 candidates for the board election, the CCCT board election. I move that we include Trustee Tammy Silver, Trustee Rebecca Barrett, Trustee Diane Delphin Polk, and Udawak Joe Intech. Those 4 names that we, PCC, vote for those candidates.
I just want to confirm the names. I just wrote them down to make sure I didn't get them wrong here. We have, of course, Trustee Tammy Silver, Trustees Rebecca Barrett, Deanna Delphin Polk, and Udawak Joe Ntuk. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a second from Trustee Liu. Do you have any discussion on this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who are these other 3 individuals?
Same question.
I can speak to some of them because I'm familiar with some of them, but Trustee Rebecca Barrett is from the 4CT Contra Costa Community College District. Deanna Delphin Polk is from Peralta Community College District, and Udawak Joe Ntuk is from Long Beach Community College District. Trustee Gibson, I think you had...
Yeah, Udawak is very active with the Black Caucus in statewide and has done a lot of work in Long Beach and statewide to support the work of the community colleges and his local students. So,
And we are only allowed to vote for 4, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Unfortunately, only 4. Trustee Silver.
I did not write down the name of the incumbents. I know one of them is Inez from Napa, and she is a real asset to the board. I cannot remember the third. There are 3 incumbents, and I would urge us to vote for the 3 incumbents because they have been doing a great job, plus Udawak Joe, who I do see very active in the league.
It would be difficult to vote for the folks without names, right? You don't have the names.
So I guess
don't have
I'll
it
put
either.
I'll turn on my computer to find. I hadn't realized we wouldn't.
We can continue discussion. I'll speak to some of these folks a little bit myself. Trustee Barrett and Trustee Delphin Polk, they represent the Bay Area, which is in some way, although I'm LA County all the way, as much as I possibly can be, the Bay is a little bit underrepresented on the CCCT board. The 2 of them have both served well into their 2nd terms in their trusteeships. They also both have served as presidents of their respective boards, guiding their boards and their districts through challenging times, of course, with the pandemic, but certainly they've also had to, work really hard to bring their campuses together in challenging times. And so I respected their work. They're also younger trustees, which I definitely have a little bit of preference for. I think we need to ensure that we're continuing to support younger voices, not just locally, but in Sacramento as well. And they both have experience working in Sacramento with legislators and with other folks
Well, we have a-
connected to our work.
We have a motion on the floor and a second, so we probably need to vote on this before trustee Silver brings her other,
I want to make sure, I want to leave it open for discussion. And so I want to let trustee Silver just mention her folks, and then she can make a substitute motion, which I want to make sure
Okay.
is fair, if she would like. Trustee Liu.
Yeah, while Trustee Silver is pulling up the names, I can only speak to Trustee Barrett and Trustee Delphine Polk because I've met them at different CCLC conferences. And yeah, just echoing what Trustee Wong said, that I appreciate how involved they are in Sacramento, and I think having prior legislative experience is helpful. So that's all I can say in terms of the candidates that have been put up. But from my interactions with them so far, I've been impressed.
I can speak to trustee Udak from Long Beach City College, and I believe with his leadership and his colleagues, Long Beach City College has really come in a long way in its innovation and its academic curriculum in serving the Long Beach City College area. So I am certainly in support of nominating and voting for the trustee from City of Long Beach City College.
Thank you. Trustee Silver.
Okay, yes, who we would be leaving off the board is Jose Alcala, who is an amazing trustee from Riverside, from the Inland Empire, which is an area that needs representation. He is a high school teacher. He is a union representative and is very knowledgeable and very helpful on the board with union issues as a union rep for, I'm not sure which entity. And he provides outstanding background information to us as we do our work. And Inez de Luna is from Napa Valley, which you can think of as One Way, the fancy place, but those community colleges are rural agricultural and support a student body who is really in need of the kind of support that she and her college give. So I think we can all agree on Udak Joe, but I do urge you to not leave off Jose Alcala and Inez de Luna.
Would you like to make that as a substitute motion, Trustee Silver?
Yes, please.
Is there a second for that?
I'll second that.
Okay, so in that case, how about I propose this? What if we remove, what if we vote on the folks we agree on first? So would both motion makers be willing to drop the motions, retract their motions, so we can just move to support the ones that we agree on first? Which is you, Tammy, and also Uduak. So can we just vote on those first so we can continue discussion on the rest?
Oh, yes, so vote on two right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So can I have a motion to support Trustee Silver and Trustee Joan Took for the CCCT board?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Liu. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Chen Lao. I think we discussed it. I'm going to move to a vote. Student trustee,
Aye.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 So that one passes unanimously. Okay. So now I just want to make sure we have time for discussion because I don't want to just ram it through for these different candidates. Trustee Liu.
Before we get into this discussion, I just want to congratulate Trustee Silver again. I don't want to miss that. I think your leadership up and down the state is deeply appreciative, and we're so proud of you representing us.
Yes. I'd like to congratulate Tammy Silver as she serves her term. it's good to have representation from PCC and to have somebody to represent the interests of our students and curriculum and the vision of PCC, and that when the time comes when you serve, that you will continue to be a fierce advocate for us and for all of the students to whom we serve.
Thank you. Okay, for the final two members, I know that Trustee Silver would probably want to support one or the other. How would folks like to do this? Would someone could make a motion to support two, and we can go to a vote and see how that goes? Would that be okay with folks? Okay, so Trustee Gibson did speak first earlier, so I just wanted to keep that fair if Trustee Gibson wants to make the motion for those two trustees.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll make a motion to support Trustee Rebecca Barrett and Trustee Diana Delphin Polk.
Okay, any further discussion on this? Okay, let's move to a vote on this then.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Because I was trying to, can you mention their names one more time? Dr.
Rebecca Barrett and Diana Delphin Polk
Okay. Contra Costa and then
Peralta.
Peralta.
Okay,
So we have two people from Northern California.
yeah, which is already a underrepresented area on the board.
We voted for Trustee Silver, and certainly Trustee Silver appreciate your work, as well as your in your email you wrote about your leadership in DEI, which is extremely important in these trying times. So continue to look forward to your leadership in that realm. The two trustees that we voted for, Trustee Silver and Trustee Joe, are both from Southern California. And if we're looking at four candidates, you know, we really want to pay attention to both Northern and Southern California as well as Central California. So I just want to let my colleagues know that we want to cover the entire state in how we perceive leadership.
There's no one from Central California.
There already is on the board, though.
Oh, they're on
'cause
the
there
board.
are many members of the board. Okay, we'll move to a vote. Oh, was there a second to Trustee Gibson's motion for Barrett and Delphin Polk?
I'll second.
Okay, seconded by Trustee Liu. Let's do a vote on this. Student trustee?
Aye.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
That's one,
Aye.
2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, all opposed? We have 2. That motion passes. Thank you for the discussion. I know it's not super common that we have the back and forth, which is why I wanted to make it very methodical to make sure we have the opportunity to do it. I feel like it's the only fair way for us to have this conversation for who represents us in Sacramento. But I know that our vote has nothing to do with whether or not we support the work that the other trustees have done. And I hope we can agree on that. And we look forward to working with all the folks that are going to be elected eventually in the coming month in representing us in Sacramento. And again, congratulations to Trustee Silver. We look forward to your continued work.
So I just have a quick question on this. So our votes are then go on with the rest of the trustees throughout the state because that's what will have to.
Each district
Wanna
has
make
one
sure I'm
vote.
clear.
Each district has one vote, and so out of the 72 districts, each has 73. Oh my gosh. Whatever that number is, each district has one vote for each of the slots. And so this time, there were 4 seats open. There were some trustees that left the CCCT board late last year, but the board decided to fill those spots instead of doing an election. So there were only 4 spots open for an election this year.
And I was trying to find, what is the term? Is it just 1 year or 2?
3 years.
3 years. I was
So we
trying to
voted
find
for
it on
Trustee
here.
Silver 3 years ago now.
Right.
Okay.
You can have up to 3 3-year terms.
Okay. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. We'll move on to J2, the appointment of Measure PCC Citizens Bond Oversight Committee members. I know that there was information already sent out and also attached to this, but our CBOC is obviously a very important component of our Measure PCC bond program, and you've will have already heard from the superintendent's office in terms of your appointments, since every trustee under our rules gets an appointment. Today's appointment is to continue the appointment of those areas that are required by law. So things like bona fide taxpayers association, and some of those categories. And for now, it includes my appointment and also Trustee Chen Lao's appointment because those two seats were already vacant for a little bit. And so we want to just get those in just so we have quorum and stuff like that for that important body. And then next month, we'll appoint for the rest of our colleagues. And so if you have questions on that, please.
How do we submit names?
Jillian will reach out to you with that. I think we already got an email about it,
Yes.
so
Sorry.
the office will follow up on that. Okay.
I would like to point out that when I went over the board policies and regulations for these appointments, that it was silent as to how the seats that were selected to continue on are not written in the rules. So although I don't disagree that a decision by the administration was made that certain seats would continue on, I do believe that our board policies should have clarity and that the identity of those seats should be clearly written in the policy and that the board actually has the authority to make that decision. But for purposes of continuity for this bond committee, I do not oppose this action, but I do highly, highly recommend that we clarify the board policies so that it is in writing and that people are clearly informed as to what seats will continue on.
That makes sense. And I believe a lot of that will also, I think that's going to happen. I think that's something that the superintendent's office is looking into. And I think part of it's also needing to align with state statute because the requirement of a CBOC is a statutory requirement. But no, point taken, just saying that.
No,
I know
yeah,
they're-
that's
they're
correct.
aligned in
So
that, yeah.
the board policy shall be aligned with the state statute so that it's very clear for everyone and that the board make that decision.
Perfect. We will get on that.
May I make a comment?
Sure.
I'd like to take this opportunity and thank my appointee, Brent Kuzek, for serving his time on the Bond Oversight Committee. And he left the position because he moved out of the district, La Cañada, my district, into Altadena. He moved in August and lost his house in the fires. And so I want to just acknowledge the work that he's done on this committee and also wish him the best with his recovery efforts. And I'd also like to thank Donna Matoma. Some of you who know her was a former PCC librarian who has stepped up to be appointed to this Bond Oversight Committee.
Trustee Gibson.
Yeah, I would like to thank my representative, who will be stepping down after this term, and appreciate his term of service with the committee. Brandon Lamar, want to thank him for his service and congratulate him on becoming president of NAACP Pasadena for the coming year. So, thank you.
Yep, and I'd like to thank my representative, Larry Abelson from South Pasadena, who the feedback that he provided to me is that he found that it was very substantive work and he enjoyed it and he enjoyed working with people. He specifically pointed out Jillian Beck as the person and being able to work with her.
Okay, Trustee, I'm going to do it too. So Trustee Silver.
Okay, we all have to now. So, okay, thank you to my representative, Alan Hupch, for the time and the wisdom that you've brought to this oversight committee.
And I'd like to thank as well, actually it was my predecessor, Trustee John Martin's pick, Trustee Ron Escobar, who actually still serves on the Rosemead School District Board of Trustees. I want to thank him for taking time out of his busy schedule, serving on another board to help us out here. So thanks so much, Ron.
Okay, everybody did it, so I'm going to do it too.
Don't,
No, it's
don't peer pressure.
no, it's
Don't-
important.
Don't
It really
succumb
is
to peer
important.
pressure.
The CBOC is not glorious work, but it's so important to make sure that our taxpayer dollars are being appropriated and spent correctly. And we know that it is because of the work that's happening here on campus. But to have that community check is so critical, that a community knows what's happening with this critical bond measure. So I'm going to thank my appointee for the last couple years, Mary Ann Lawn, who is a former member, or forever Lancer, but a former Dean of Library Services here at PCC and resident of Arcadia, who has served on the CBOC. And I'd like to thank my incoming appointee, Dr. Sonia Thomas, who has graciously taken up the mantle to continue representing my trustee area in the CBOC to come. So, okay, can I have a motion to approve this appointment?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Chen Lao. I will second this one because it's one of my members. Any further discussion?
This is not out of peer pressure, but I'm glad that everyone opened up the table to speak about this. The student representative, Tony Vong, is a very dedicated PCC community member. He is a part of the PCC Sustainability Committee, as well as the former president of the PCC Sustainability Club, and he is a very dedicated and knowledgeable just community member who works very hard to make sure students are heard and when I asked him about the Bond Oversight Committee, he came to me with all of his files from all of the meetings and gave me all the background information. So I'd like to thank him for his service.
Perfect.
He's still on.
He is.
Yeah.
Yes, it's just acknowledging.
And I'll add for Tony, he was just named a semifinalist for the Jack Kent Cook Undergraduate Transfer Scholarship, which is the largest scholarship for community college students. So representing us well everywhere.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, we'll move to a
Right.
vote on this item. Student trustee,
Aye.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that passes. Thank you. Next is, speaking of Measure PCC, next is the receipt of fiscal year 23-24 Measure PCC General Obligation Bond Construction Fund Financial and Performance Audits. I believe we have a presentation on this.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Hello, thanks for having me. My name is Anna Cordillion, and I'm an audit manager with Eide Bailey, and I'm here today to present to you all the audit report for the 23-24 Measure PCC General Obligation Bond Construction Fund. During the course of our audit, we actually perform 2 audits over the bond. We perform a financial audit as well as a compliance audit. So first, for the financial audit, I always like to remind the board that management is responsible for preparing the financial statements. Our responsibility as auditors is simply to review the financial statements and form an opinion on those financial statements. I'm happy today to present to you all that we have issued an unmodified opinion on the financial statements. That is the highest form of opinion that we can issue. What that means is it's a clean audit. We did not have any audit adjustments nor any findings over the financial statements. In addition to the financial audit, we also performed a compliance audit, which is also known as the performance audit. The performance audit is an audit of compliance. So what we do is we test expenditures that were expended from the bond construction fund and ensure that they are in line with voter-approved ballot measures. We are happy to also present to you that we had no exceptions noted during our compliance audit, and we looked at roughly about 88% of the expenditures. So it's a testament to management as well as how the district is managing those funds. So with that, I'd like to open up for any questions you may have.
For the the performance audit, when you looked at the expenses, are you basically just looking at the balance sheet to ensure that the expenses are aligned with the purpose of the ballot measure?
So
correct?
that's for the financial, but for the performance, we actually look at invoices, we look at purchase orders, contracts, so we actually look at the underlying expenses.
Okay, thank
So
you.
just to, we'll compare those to the ballot measures, the district's project listings that are published online to ensure compliance.
And you looked at 88% of all of our
Let me
expenses.
verify for you. Yep, 88%. So we looked at $15.5 million of the 17.6.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Trustee Silver.
Yeah, I just thought of a question is, do you also check to see if the invoices are proper in the amounts, like if the amounts align with charges in this area, in the Southern California area?
Like, do we compare to
Like,
other?
is the charge for electrical services for the number of hours put in, is that comparable to what is being paid in the Southern California area?
So we look at reasonableness, to say that we do like a complete analysis of that wouldn't be fair, but we do look at how reasonable they are. And we also make sure that they're in line with the approved purchase orders that were basically approved by management, and make sure that the invoices are in line. And if an invoice comes in at a much higher price than what the purchase order was, which in today's world is happening quite often with all of the inflation going on. So we look to make sure that there was proper approvals when that is the case.
Thank you.
No problem.
Seeing no further questions, can I have a motion to receive the audit?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Gibson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by, I'll say, Trustee Kwong. Any further discussion on this? Okay, we'll move to a vote. Student trustee?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for your
Have a
time, and
good
thanks for
evening.
being here. And I also just wanted to quickly thank our team, I know, who has been working not just in CPOC, but also with this audit. I know Jesse, Darlene, Richard, thank you all for all of your work in making sure that we are spending our taxpayers' dollars properly. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, our next action item is the approval of the student health fee. Do I have a motion to approve?
What is the current health fee right now?
26,
It's 20.
I think the 26.
Increase of $1.
Well, it's an increase of $1 from 26.27 to align with what the state is, the max in the state right now. A motion-
moved.
Moved by Trustee Silver. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Student Trustee Wong. Thank you, Student Trustee Wong. Any further discussion? Seeing,
Yeah, I just want to get a little more clarification. You're saying at the state level, everyone's going to be going to a $1 fee? And then I also maybe want to hear from our student trustee about any impact on our students, because that's my biggest concern, right?
so
Even though I know it's $1, I mean, every dollar counts for
Jesse?
students.
I think she,
Oh,
thank you, Jesse.
thank you.
Just when you thought you were off the hook.
Should have gone by so fast. So yes, so we do charge $2, but the student always have an opportunity to decline to pay the fee. So when they do choose to pay the $2, $1 stays with PCC to fund our activity on campus, and the other dollar goes to the state for statewide initiatives.
No. The health fee. The health fee
Oh,
is
I'm sorry.
22 or 27.
It is $27. Yeah.
Is what we're voting on right now.
Correct.
And the change is because the state sets like a cap as to what you can raise it to. They've increased it a few years ago. We haven't increased it. So this is an alignment with what is allowable.
Correct, yeah. And then the state every year reevaluate the fee, the maximum that we're able to charge, and then they adjust it to what is called a price inflator. It's a federal inflator just to see if, the price point whether if there's any room for adjustment, so then to afford the services that we're going to provide for the students. So for this year, they adjusted just slightly by $1 from $26 to $27.
So is it 27 per semester, per year?
Semester, and if inter-session is $22, and that price did not change.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
So it's $26 for a regular semester. I'm sorry, $26 to $27 for regular semester, and $22 for winter and summer intersessions.
And non-credit students also pay the same fee?
Correct.
Regardless of the amount of units that they're enrolled in, everybody pays the same? There's no pro rata?
There's no pro rata, unfortunately.
So I take one class, I'm paying the $27 fee.
Yeah, so it's initiative for students to take multiple classes with us.
To take what? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
increase our FTEs.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, and also, and this is not a fee that can be waived or that can be absorbed by,
Part of it.
that's a question I
No, go
have.
ahead.
Yeah.
I believe there's maybe a petition process, but without the petition process, it would be a fee that's being tagged on as part of the charges here.
I just want to make sure I was clear. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jesse. Okay, let's move to a vote on this. Student trustee?
Actually, could I add
Oh, you could please.
some discussion?
Sure.
I do think the student health fee is very beneficial for students. Our health center does offer a lot of medication and pills for a very low price, and I think that's a great opportunity for students. And it offers it regardless of whether you have insurance. So yeah.
No, absolutely.
Support it. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Now we're ready for a vote. Student trustee?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That passes unanimously. Thank you for the discussion. Thank you, Jesse, for stepping in. Our next action item, the approval of additions and modifications to the credit curriculum. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Liu. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by trustee Aragon. Any discussion? Okay, move to a vote. Student trustee?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Okay, information items, Superintendent President's report.
Great. Good evening, everyone. I'm pleased to share some updates from across the PCC community. I want to start off by mentioning that our spring enrollment remains strong. We're tracking 5% higher than this time last year, with our academic year headcount surpassing last year's by more than 1,000 students. These numbers reflect our ongoing efforts to provide accessible, high-quality education and support for our students. We recently celebrated the Lunar New Year with a wonderful event organized by the International Student Center led by Olivia Liu and the Lunar New Year Committee. These festivities included a lion dance, lucky red envelopes, and engaging activities to welcome the year of the snake. And I want to give a special thank you to Trustee Wong, Trustee Kwong, Trustee Liu, Trustee Gibson, and Student Trustee Wong for joining us, and for all of the members of our PCC community who came out to celebrate. Also, earlier this month, actually I think it was last week, I had the pleasure of attending a magnificent performance by our PCC College Community Orchestra, conducted by Professor Henry Shin, featuring special guests Astral Mixtape. It was an incredible showcase of student talent and dedication, and I'm looking forward to attending additional performances. In fact, I learned that Professor Shin actually has office hours on Instagram. He asks questions, and he says, IG office hours, music-related questions. And so students will fill those in, and they'll pop up on his feed. And of course, I had to take the opportunity to start asking lots of music questions, but my questions weren't the kinds of questions that he's used to handling. So I think I stumped him a little bit, but he is currently listening to Electric Light Orchestra and Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. And I said, which one is better? And she said, "Ooh, I'm going to have to take a look at that." So that was really, really fun. I've been to several of their performances in the past, and it's a really amazing group. I also asked him about punk music, and he did have some great answers. I was really impressed with his knowledge. In addition, and this is really special, PCC's theater production of Ubu Roy was selected to perform a scene at the Kennedy Center American College Theater Region 8 Festival in Mesa, Arizona. This was one of only 5 scenes chosen from hundreds of submissions from the region. This marks the program's second invitation to this highly selective and prestigious program in the last several years. I want to congratulate our Performance and Communication Arts Division and our Theater Arts Professor Kathy Nye and all of our great student performers for that important accolade. Also wanted to share that our student journalists from the PCC Courier recently attended the Journalism Association of Community Colleges State Conference in Long Beach, where they earned the Pacesetter Award as one of the top 3 student publications in California. One of the top 3 student publications in California. That is really amazing. It's the highest honor given by the association, making the second time in just 3 years that they've received this award. So that's a really impressive for our newspaper. They also received numerous individual honors as well, with recognitions in categories such as news writing, social media, podcasting, sports writing, and photography. I want to give a huge congratulations to our Courier staff and their advisor, Nathan McIntyre. I also want to thank our trustee, Stephen Gibson, Dr. Steve Gibson, who participated in the recent WELL statewide conference in Anaheim, contributing to a panel on lessons learned from the Los Angeles County firestorms and their impact on extreme weather resilience. I want to thank you for sharing your experience and also sharing the work that PCC is doing with the greater community. Also, as you know, our commitment to those affected by the Eaton fires continues. PCC and the PCC Foundation partnered with the Tournament of Roses and Vons Albertsons Pavilions 2 weeks ago, I believe, or was it last week, to provide 1,000 students with $100 gift cards in collaboration with Lancer Care and our associated students. It was an amazing event. There were students lined up all throughout, just down the courtyard, and our student trustee, Wong, was also there volunteering and supporting those students in need. We're also continuing to develop long-term initiatives to support rebuilding and recovery efforts for our students, faculty, staff, and also becoming more and more important, the broader community that we serve, the neighborhoods and the families that we serve, particularly in those burn areas. And I will have more updates to share in the coming months. We know that there have been many national changes, very rapid changes and challenges. I am proud that PCC remains steadfast in supporting our undocumented students, our LGBTQ students, and all members of our Lancer community. The Pride Center and the Dreamers Resource Center have expanded resources during this time to provide care and support, continuing the foundation laid by many within our PCC community. So this didn't just start this year. This has a long history. In fact, since 2011, and some of you may have read my message about this, the Safe Zone Coalition has played a crucial role in ensuring students feel safe and valued, offering ally training and advocacy. I want to take a moment to recognize their dedication, including our trustee, James Aragon, and all the other faculty and staff who were part of the Safe Zone Coalition over more than a decade, who contributed to making PCC a more inclusive campus. Let's give them a well-deserved round of applause. Yesterday, we right here in this room, had the honor of welcoming Father Greg Boyle, the founder of Homeboy Industries, to speak on his new book, Cherished Belonging. This event, organized by our core program, the Retirees Association, and the PCC Foundation, really reinforced our mission of compassion and inclusion. Father Greg speaks about a community of cherished belonging, which I believe aligns with what we strive to cultivate here at PCC, a place where everyone is valued and supported. And this is important because this has been a very challenging year, and it's only March. Wildfires have devastated our region, national policy shifts have created uncertainty, and global events continue to unfold quickly. Yet, through it all, our community has remained strong, supporting one another when it matters most. It is in these moments that we see the true power of our shared belonging. Father Greg's message was a valuable reminder and came at a really important moment about the importance of community and compassion. To close, I'm excited to introduce one of our esteemed geology faculty members, Brian Wilbur, for our next presentation. He will be sharing insights into PCC's incredible field experiences in the geosciences. This is part of a very long tradition of hands-on learning at our institution. We have the best geosciences program in the nation. And I will, I'll argue that point with anybody. These trips, by the way, that he's going to talk about are just some of the examples of the student travel that our Board of Trustees approves each month, including tonight, you included in item F6, another trip for this student group and the faculty. So I'm looking forward to learning more from Professor Wilbur. Thank you all, and that concludes my report.
Perfect segue, Professor.
Esteemed, I'm flattered by the introduction. Thank you for that. I've been here at Pasadena City College for about 18 years. I've represented the geology department for those 18 years, but I've been the Dana Club faculty advisor for at least 15 of those years. I think I'm probably one of the longest serving club advisors here on campus. And you'll notice that our geology club isn't called the Geology Club, we're the Dana Club. Some jokers in 1937 decided that they wanted to keep the Geology Club on the lowdown, so they decided to name it after James Dwight Dana, the very first, the author of the very first manual on mineralogy. The first textbook on minerals was James Dwight Dana in the late 19th century. So in 1937, our Geology Club was founded, and we've been meeting ever since. And so I'm here to speak on behalf of both the Geology Department broadly, but really the club is a recruitment tool for the Geology Department, and the two go together splendidly. And I would also like to point out that I am here hat in hand, as the Geology Club usually is, but I want to point out that what we request is an investment. And I'd like to point out how that is absolutely an investment in every sense of the word. I wanted to start out with a couple of quick pictures from our history, recent and ancient. In the upper left-hand corner is a 1927 field trip to Palos Verdes Peninsula. In the lower right-hand corner, second row, is Edwin Van Amridge, our very first professor of geology. But what I'd kind of like to point out is geologists are very proud of the tools of their trade. You'll notice that somebody in the back row is holding up their rock hammer. Geologists always have the ability to take their aggressions out on the outcrop if they need to. Whenever you're frustrated as a geologist, it always sometimes helps to use those hammers, and nothing changes. In the lower right-hand corner, you'll see a couple of my students holding up their rock hammers in a much more recent photograph to a field trip to Wyoming. So let me share with you some of our history. Let me share with you a few quick pictures, and let me share with you guys some rocks as quickly as I can make it. This is Professor Edwin Van Amridge. He led the very first field trip here at Pasadena City College on December 10th, 1926. It was covered in the the PCC Lancer newspaper. We have a scrapbook with some of these old photographs and some of these old newspaper clippings, which we enjoy greatly. And this is a photograph from our very first field trip to a place called Red Rocks, north of here, about hour and a half, 2 hours. If you've ever driven to Mammoth from Pasadena, you've likely passed through this area. And I'd like to point out that this was our first field trip, and this one was our last field trip. Not last ever, just maybe most recent is probably the better way of putting it. This was a geology department field trip through Red Rocks on our way to Eastern California just this summer. So we have a 99-year tradition of being out in the field, and we're always grateful for the support that we get from the school. And I guess another thing to interject now, I did attend school in the Southern California area. I'm a proud UCLA Bruin, but I would point out that Pasadena City College has the best field program in the LA Basin, no question about it. When our students transfer out to any college in any area, the receiving school is always gobsmacked over the experience that our students have had. And we're very, very proud of that. Here's just a quick rundown. This slide took me the longest of all. This is a spot for every single field trip that we've been on since I've been here at Pasadena City College in 2006 when I started working here. In blue is for the field trip classes. In red is for the Dana Club field trips. There's one in orange. That's the one that we're requesting funding for this evening. We're going to be heading to Sedona later this month, so long as everything works out. And it's a spot that we've never been to before. You can see that we range quite far. But the reason why we do this is that the western part of the United States has an embarrassment of geological riches. Because of the fact that Pangaea broke up and North America is heading west, the west side of North America is a convergent plate boundary and a transform, depending on where you look. We call this an active boundary, which means the geology is anywhere and everywhere. We have a glut of fantastic geological localities, some in our own backyard. Of course, until recently, we spent a lot of time at Eaton Canyon. Every class goes out to Eaton Canyon during the course of the semester, and it's a world-class geology locality right in our backyard. But even beyond that, we've had the opportunity to visit all over the West. And to accentuate why we do this, I figured I'd show this quick picture. This is my colleague Martha House. I think many of you know her. She's on the right. She's holding court in the best classroom in the world. If you are going to learn about rocks and the Grand Canyon is a day's drive away, it would be criminal to not take advantage of the opportunity to do this. I figure it's sort of like taking a class on Beethoven and reading sheet music instead of actually going to hear it at the LA Bowl or something. To have the opportunity to go see these rocks, it's the only way to do it. And there are poor students at other colleges that are bereft of these opportunities because they have to look at the pictures in the textbook. The textbook is in our backyard, so we go out of our way to go see it. So a really quick rundown. I was told that you guys like to see some of the pictures of some of the places that we visited. So as rapidly as I can make it, here's a quick rundown of some of the spots that we've been to recently. This was our fall field trip a few months ago. We went out to Eastern California to investigate some now extinct cinder cone volcanoes. But the neat thing about one of these cinder cones in the upper right-hand corner, this is called Siberia Hill. Some joker decided to name a locality in Eastern California Siberia because it gets to about 120 in the summertime. This gash in the earth has allowed issue of mantle rocks from deep, deep, deep below our feet. The lower right-hand corner, I've got a picture of some of those mantle rocks. This is called peridotite, and it's made out of olivine, an iron-rich rock. And I collected enough that I'm happy to share with you guys. I got a bucket of rocks. I always have a bucket of rocks, and my students collect more than enough. But I'm happy to distribute these however you guys see fit. I'll just leave them there.
I love rocks.
If you want to distribute it, feel free to take a sample so you have a piece of the mantle underneath our pen. You'll notice how heavy that bucket is. The olivine is an iron-rich rock. You can't really see the iron, but it's buried in the chemical structure. And when the earth cooled, that iron sank into the interior and made the mantle. So I'll make the rest of these quick. Before that, the fall trip of 2023, we visited Bodie and Yosemite to study the Sierra Nevada granites and a little bit of hard rock mining history of gold mining in the state of California. We visited the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show in February of 2023. We saw some really nice displays for the museum quality stuff. We went to Kartchner Cavern State Park, or as we like to call it, karst features in Paleozoic carbonate rocks. And of course, we mimicked saguaro cacti in Saguaro National Park. But the rocks that the students are standing on are metamorphic core complex rocks, which show us how stretching works in North America. In September of 2022, we visited the Sierras again and saw Lake Tahoe and learned how to fly kites, did a little summiting. We've been to the Mojave Desert to investigate more recent volcanic rocks and some sand dunes and go through some very tight crawls. We've also visited Eastern California. This is probably our favorite backyard of all. Eastern California, if you go up 395 corridor, on the east side is the White Inyo Mountains, which are sedimentary rocks, which you can see in the upper left-hand corner, some of which house fossils like these ammonite fossils. On the west side of the valley, we have Sierran granites, crystallized magma. You can see dikes of light-colored igneous rocks cutting through, and my students are pointing at enclaves. And just for a little bit of local color, at the end of the day, we head back to our campsites and have nice campfires in the shadows of the Sierras. Really, really hard to beat. I figured I'd show you one more quick picture of some field activities with students because I wanted to start shifting to the investment part. This was a trip that we took to Telescope Peak in Death Valley National Park. If you guys have been to Death Valley before, on the valley floor, you're below sea level. But if you go just west of there, you can make it to Telescope Peak. It's 11,049 feet high, and from that spot, as Gigo is doing, you can point to the lowest point in the Western Hemisphere and the highest point in the lower 48 states. It's an absolutely fantastic place to visit. And again, the fact that it's in our backyard, we're pleased as punch that we have the opportunity to share these opportunities with our students. But I also wanted to point at the gentleman behind the fire pit in the lower right-hand corner. That's Shane Houchin. By way of this being an investment, but I'd really like to impress upon all of you, is that Shane now works across the street, or I guess catty corner to us. You guys know there's another college in Pasadena that's also pretty good. It's called Caltech, and he's working on his PhD on Sanukatoid rocks, which he studied in my class. Whoa. And now he's a Caltech PhD candidate. He's a couple years away, but he's not the only one. This is Sophia. Sophia is at UC Santa Cruz. She just started this fall, and she's working on a PhD. Right now, she's studying carbonate rocks in Antarctica and might get the chance to go. This is Andy Tholt. Andy Tholt is holding a hammer that he won as a geology freshman award winner at Pasadena City College a few years back. It's inscribed with his name. He earned it through his hard work, and here he's using that very hammer to investigate the end Cretaceous mass extinction that wiped out the non-avian dinosaurs. He's working on his PhD right now at Berkeley. But not everybody is an academic. We have many people that are serving, and this is the next part of the investment part. A lot of the people are not just doing great things, they're doing great things that give back. This is Carla. Carla was until recently a National Park Service ranger at Redwoods. She's working now at the state parks in California instead. I've got this fantastic picture of her when she was at the National Park Service. This is Liz. Liz works at the Department of Water Resources, continuing to serve the state of California by making sure we have safe, clean drinking water. This is Angel Covarrubias in the bottom. He's investigating a trench through a fault so we can understand how faults work because he works at Caltrans to help build roads in Northern California. This is Trina Lay to the left. She's a biological monitor in the western states. They go wherever they need to send her. And this is one of my favorite pictures. This is Carlos. I asked Carlos to send me some pictures of what he's up to, and I got this picture of him investigating Santa Anita Dam in our own backyard, working on the infrastructure of Southern California. This is Mike Huh. He works at NASA on lunar rocks. This is Nick Gross to the right. He drills wells in Wyoming. And I wanted to include Kathy Lynn in the lower left. You'll see that Kathy is sketching some hoodoos in a place called Goblin Valley. Kathy is not a geologist. She's working towards her master's in art therapy at a medical school in Virginia right now. Everybody serves, and every single one of these students found a start here at Pasadena City College and has now done their best to give back. And to really accentuate that point, I brought one more exhibit with me. I brought the guy who's holding up his hammer in the very first picture. I want to point out my former student and now colleague, Patrick Thomas, wanted to come here. It's not so much that I asked him, he volunteered before I even had the chance. But I figured what better way than to bring a student to come and talk. Patrick, could I invite you up to say a few words for a second? So this is Patrick Thomas.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm the third generation in my family to go to PCC. My grandparents went here when it was PJC, so PCC and PJC are in my blood, and I'm more than grateful to come and support the geology department. I still carry my Dana Club card in my wallet. It still has the same insignia as it did on that first slide. I worked for a geohazard mitigation company. We're international. I work out of California. I live in Sierra Madre. We work on debris flow barriers, things that keep our infrastructure working. I work with Angel. Carlos, who we mentioned, we used to work for the same geotechnical engineering company. And I just want to emphasize how important these field courses are in our understanding of the earth, and as well as creating the excitement that we all felt and still feel with geology. I remember my first field class with Martha House. After that first day, I never saw the earth the same. You understand earth structures in a way that you never did before. And every time I now look at a rock or a mountain, I can see inside of them in a way I never had before. And these field courses not only are fundamental in our understanding of the earth and however we apply it, be it in academia or an industry like I work in, it's thoroughly fundamental, but I've also developed long-lasting relationships. Some of my best friends are people I met in the Dana Club, and they're also working relationships. There's people I work with now. I was talking to Angel at Caltrans recently because my company does a lot of Caltrans work. So it's very important to continue developing these relationships and this understanding of the earth. And I'm going to second what Brian said, that this is the best geology department in Southern California, if not California. And I felt extremely well prepared when I moved on to Cal Poly Pomona. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to ask.
Well, first, thank you both for the presentation. I think no one would have questioned approval of that item earlier, but this really hits it home for us. So we're glad that the next trip is funded to see this kind of experience continue to unfold. Do any of my colleagues have questions or comment? Trustee Liu, and then Trustee Chen-Lao, and then Trustee Silver.
Yeah, I just wanted to express my appreciation for y'all coming out today and having this great presentation. And I'll say in my 12 years at PCC, I never once put together the reasoning behind the name of Dana Club. I just assumed that's something to do with geology. So this is great backstory now for all of us to know. And I'll say too, I was recently, my partner is a teacher too, and I accompanied her in chaperoning a field trip for some of her students. And it's not easy work. Even the most well-behaved students, it's an effort to take them all, on a trip to learn. So I don't want to take it for granted. I don't think this is granted. I don't think this is granted. But I don't want to take it for granted, like the hard work that all of you do. And we're deeply appreciative of all the work that you put in to make sure that our students get that experience. What is this anyways?
So this is a peridotite xenolith. Peridotite is the green rock, and it's set in a matrix of basalt. The basalt comes from deep within the earth, and chunks of the mantle broke off in the liquid and then floated up to the surface and were erupted as a volcano. The volcano is either known as Siberia crater or Dish Hill, depending on which resource you're looking at.
Got it. So not granted. Thank you.
Not granted, but I can get you some granite.
Igneous.
We got granite.
Thank you.
Trustee Chen-Lao.
Congratulations. This is a wonderful presentation, and congratulations on your 18 years. You are certainly an esteemed professor. What I would like to suggest, if it's possible, is that, I've been on this board for almost 8 years, and this is one of the first times that I've seen the presentation on field courses, and I could see the enthusiasm of your students, but also preparing them for the future, whether it's college prep or preparing them for their career. I would love to see this presentation be part of other school districts, I would love to have you join me at a La Cañada school board meeting where you can present this to the high school students so that they know what we have to offer here at PCC, especially now we focus so much on, computer science and all the STEM courses, but I think that a course like this, where you're out in the field, is also very important. And I would love to, have that be part of our repertoire of presentations.
Let's follow up on that after the fact.
Can I make a quick comment on that?
Yes.
So we would be more than happy to do outreach at high schools, because you guys are likely aware that it's very difficult to get geology exposure in high schools. Everybody takes their physics, their chemistry,
Yes.
their biology, and appropriately so, but geology isn't always part of a high school curriculum. So people don't get exposed to it and they come here and take a class. Everybody comes here majoring in something else.
Right.
Geology is a major of second choice.
Yes.
And we're proud of that. It isn't until here that you get the chance to go on a field trip and then end up working as a geologist.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Oh, Trustee Silver? Yeah.
I am just thrilled and delighted to learn about these field programs. And I just must say that I went to the other school in town, at USC, and I went on a geology field trip when I was a student that looms large in my memory. And then when the Museum of Natural History offered a field trip to Red Rock Canyon when my boys were little, I got my family, packed them up, and we went on an overnight camping trip with the Museum of Natural History, where my husband found camel's ankle bone. It's very exciting. It's in the museum. Yes. So I think this kind of learning is life-changing. The camping out, the planning the meals, the cooking, the teamwork, the seeing the stars. I would guess that many of these students had never camped before.
Yeah, many of them have not. The nice thing is the community that we develop, everybody chips in and helps out. We learn how to put up tents together.
Yes.
And geology community, wherever you go, it always pops up. There's a core community of geologists at any college and university you go to, and they're different but the same everywhere you go.
It's beautiful. And then I would encourage any other discipline who can create field experiences for our students to please do that, and maybe use your knowledge and wisdom as a resource. Yes, absolutely. And please, let's take our students out into nature, out into the world. It's fantastic.
Thank you. Trustee Aragon?
Yes, thank you very much for the presentation. I just want to remind you to speak into the mic, because I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. I want to make sure it's recorded. First off, thank you for your presentation. I took geology myself as an elective in community college. But I just want to be clear. So I know that there's a geology club and then the field experiences that count for credit. So when it comes to the funding, the club usually raises money, or the money is given, not given, but earned through
Invested.
ICC,
Yes.
right? And then the funding is also then for the course experience. So can you explain that a little bit?
The two are divested from one another. The field trips that the school runs through the geology department, not the club, those are for credit, and we
Right.
get funding through the college. I think it's from the Student Services Fund as well, but a different pile. But the funding for the club comes from fundraisers and from ICC. Students do service hours all semester long to earn their credit for it, and the school has always been very generous with us. And the students always hold a mineral sale, usually twice a year, sometimes once a year. Sometimes they have a table at the PCC swap meet where they earn a little bit of extra money towards their field trips, maybe a night having pizza on the field trip. We do things on a shoestring budget. The nice thing is it doesn't cost a lot to do a geology field trip. You need a couple nights of campgrounds, and you need gas, and you need the vehicles. And usually that's pretty reasonable in its cost. But, again, they're two separate things, but the Dana Club is a recruitment tool for the geology department. I wrote an abstract on this for the USGS, the Geological Society of America a few years back, on how a college should use a geology club as a recruitment tool. Again, we don't have that exposure in high school, so people get it when they come here. The nice thing is that people who don't necessarily like the idea of geology or even have been exposed to geology, a lot of people like the outdoors. and the opportunity to go camping when you're in college with a bunch of other young people, get exposure to the outdoors. Some people are shrinking violets in that, but some people, they see the opportunity to go camping and they jump at it. And, oh, hey, you can study this stuff when you're out and about. That's how I became a geologist. I entered college as a biology major because I didn't know about it. And I figured out that I could earn units for studying rocks and be outdoors. A light went on and I changed my major instantaneously. And so that's where we get that exposure. The geology club helps expose the geology department. The two work together really well in that way.
And so we still have, it's at the 12F, 12L lab course where they go to the beach for the weekend and they get that 1 unit requirement out of the way?
That's the 12F. It's an additional lab unit for the oceanography class. Our oceanography class doesn't have a lab component except for the field trip class or the lab class. Like if you take Geology 1, it's lecture and lab together. But oceanography, we've separated the two out.
And it still exists?
Oh, yeah, absolutely still
right,
exists.
thank
And
you.
it's well attended. And my colleague, Michael Vendrosco, is teaching those classes right now.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, Trustee Silver.
Could you take more students or do more field experiences if you had more funding?
Give me X number of dollars and I will give you X number of field trips. It's a piece of cake getting me out in the field. Patrick will vouch for that. If I get the opportunity to go out in the field, I'll do it. And if I can get more students out in the field, great. If I have to go out on my own, I do that as well. But if I have funding to get more people out in the field, we'd be happy to do that. We've looked at other ways to do this. We work closely with the geography department. The geography department has a fantastic field program as well. And we wouldn't mind outreach in some way, shape, or form. There's a lot of legal issues there associated that we'd have to work out. But any way that we could do outreach and working with local school districts to maybe get high school kids up in the mountains. The San Gabriel Mountains are on the horizon, and there's fantastic campgrounds all through there, and the rocks are fantastic. Some of you might know Bruce Carter, Dean Emeritus of the Natural Sciences. He earned his PhD working in the San Gabriels. The world's expert on the San Gabriel Mountains was the Dean of the Natural Sciences here at PCC, and it's right there in our backyard. Any opportunity we can, we'll be able to spend that, and we'll be able to provide those field experiences. And I'm just one of 4 geologists, so there's a whole bunch of us that are always happy to do this. Getting a geologist in the field is a piece of cake. That's shooting fish in a barrel.
Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you. And we look
thanks for your
forward
time.
to
Thanks
hearing
for
more
the
about the next trip.
opportunity to
Thank you.
extol our virtues. Thanks.
Okay, we're going to now move to announcements by shared governance representatives in the Board of Trustees. We'll begin with Management Association.
Actually, I'll be speaking for classified.
Oh, great. Go ahead.
Thank you. So this is from classified.
Sure.
Okay. Good evening, Board of Trustees. We held our first Senate meeting of the spring semester on Wednesday, March 5th. During the meeting, we appointed 2 new senators, Jamie Portillo and Sofia Montano. 6 of our senators will be attending the Classified Leadership Institute in June. We are also in the process of finalizing the agenda for Classified PD Day, which will take place on Friday, May 16th. We'd like to take a moment to give a special shout out to Enrollment Services for their success with the What Huts. Thank you to all the classified staff who volunteered. Additionally, we'd like to welcome our newest classified staff members. Please join me in welcoming Draumira Ayon, Harrison Haynes, Braden Kennelly, Mina Kwajazada, Daniela Naranjo, Shreya Parthiban, Aiden Perez, and Daniel Ponce. The Classified Senate would also like to recognize Daryl Montgomery for his time, dedication, contributions, and commitment to PCC, its students, staff, and the overall campus community. After 24 years of service, Daryl will be retiring to pursue exciting new ventures outside of PCC. The Classified Senate extends our heartfelt thanks to him for everything he has done and wishes him the very best in his future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for delivering that report for Classified Senate. We'll now go to the Management Association.
Yes, good evening. On Friday, March 7th, the Management Association held its monthly meeting at our Community Education Center. And a special thanks to Dean Francisco Suarez and Director Ashley Mejia for being such gracious hosts. The MA's general membership gathered to report on the various committees they serve on and share updates on the work happening in their respective areas. These meetings continue to be a vital space for collaboration and support as we navigate the evolving needs of the college. We also discussed the additional responsibilities many managers are taking on to ensure the continued success of college operations. A significant portion of our meeting was dedicated to a presentation and discussion with two representatives from SCIU Local 721, who will soon be submitting a request for information from the district to fully prepare for our initial contract negotiations. The highlight of our meeting, however, similar was just stated, was celebrating one of our own. And as you approved earlier today, Daryl Montgomery, Supervisor of Grounds, is retiring from PCC after 24 years of dedicated service. Daryl's contributions to the college extend well beyond his daily responsibilities. He has fostered meaningful relationships across campus, bringing warmth and kindness to all who had the pleasure of working with him. His contagious smile and calm demeanor will be deeply missed, and we wish him all the best in his well-earned retirement. We certainly have big, but super stylish, shoes to fill, as Daryl always had some of the best kicks on campus. Speaking of big shoes to fill, as I mentioned before, Dr. Gomez, again, the MA remains eager to support you and the district in the selection process for the two vacant vice president positions in student services and business administrative services, though we recognize your commitment to a thorough and thoughtful selection process, and we appreciate the care being taken to get it right. And in recognition of Women's Her Story Month, I'd like to leave everyone with this quote by Helen Keller, who stated that alone we can do so little, and together we can do so much. This sentiment embodies the spirit of service we see in our managers, our staff, and dedicated individuals like Daryl Montgomery, who have made a lasting impact on our campus through their commitment and teamwork. Thank you, and have a blessed evening.
Thank you so much. We'll go to Academic Senate.
Yes. The Academic Senate is continuing to support our students via collaboration with the Office of Student Life in our highest honors ceremony this June. We will be providing a meal to faculty and staff who participate in graduation day activities in addition to sponsoring the highest honors ceremony. Also, our Senate AI working group is working on a policy for faculty. They recently came to our last Senate meeting to report out and gather information from faculty on how to go about creating a policy for the campus. Finally, we remain dedicated to following our 10+1 and supporting faculty and students. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you to you both. We'll now head over to Trustee Wong for both student trustee report and associated students.
Yes, as AS President Alfredo Martinez is currently flying back from the Aussie conference in Chicago, I will be presenting a joint report on behalf of AS. So firstly, ASPCC's Student Equity Committee, Black STEM, and the Transfer Center are excited to host a Caltech campus tour tomorrow at noon alongside the Caltech Center for Inclusion and Diversity in memoriam of Dr. Carol Brown. The Student Services Committee has an ongoing hygiene drive to share new essential hygiene products with students who have been impacted by the Eaton fires. Additionally, the Campus Activities Committee is hosting a March Madness event, a basketball tournament on the 28th in our gym. This one always gathers a lot of student participation, so if you would like to come and observe, that would be very fun. They're competing for $100 worth of In-N-Out gift cards, so expect it to be brutal. Additionally, AS and our delegated representatives are willing to help out in any way with the process of hiring new VPs as well. And lastly, the AS Lobby Committee is also very excited to be headed to Capitol Hill to speak with elected officials. I apologize, I don't know what's going on today. To speak with elected officials representing all over the state and even the state of Vermont, as we have somehow acquired the ear of Senator Bernie Sanders' office, as he is a large proponent and voice for the issues we are invested in. And I'd additionally like to thank Trustee Silver for the introduction to one of his staffers for us. And the students have dedicated months of research and outreach to understand and represent the needs of the student body, especially now of targeted communities. And it will be great to see all of their hard work culminate in those meetings. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Trustee Silver?
Thank you. I participated in the Read Across America event last week at the PUSD Washington Elementary STEM Magnet, and I read to a third grade class who were the cutest, sweetest kids ever. And I was thinking that would be an interesting partnering. Maybe next year I can tell Dr. Gomez, and maybe we have some people from PCC that would like to go and read a book to a kindergartner through a fifth grader. It's 15 minutes, and it just will fill your heart with warmth and happiness. So that was fun. On Friday, I was the lead planner of the Women's Caucus of the California Community College's Women's Caucus celebration of International Women's Day. We held the celebration at Mission College near San Jose, and it was joyous, inspiring, empowering, uplifting. It was a fantastic experience. Our keynote speaker was State Senator Aisha Wahab, whose family fled Afghanistan in 2014 when another horrible thing happened. It wasn't us. It was, anyway, a while ago. And I don't know what happened to her mother. Her father was murdered when she was little, and she grew up in foster care. And she attended Ohlone College in the Bay Area and is the first elected Afghan American in America in any elected public office, and she is dazzling. So she was wonderful. We also had a panel of educators who were amazing, and we took a look. That college happens to have native plantings all throughout, and we took a walk through their grounds and smelled their native plants, saw their little bug hotel, which was cute, and then we took a look at their fashion department with an emphasis on sustainable fashion. So that was a wonderful experience, and I wish you all a happy Women's History Month, and I am happy to hear about all the celebrations that do happen here on our campus and around. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Silver. Trustee Liu?
Thank you, President Wong. I'll be relatively brief. Got to go to a couple events in the community and some events on campus in the last few weeks. Grateful for PCC support of Temple City's Camilla Festival. We were one of the named sponsors this year, and we participated in the parade as well. So want to thank PCC for always supporting the Temple City community, and thank Angie Alvarez and everyone from Outreach for making a lot of that possible as well. I was also able to attend the Temple City State of the City, where Mayor Tom Chavez, who was also an adjunct professor at PCC, gave a speech about some of the great work happening in the city of Temple City. So to the degree PCC can continue being a partner with the city, I know they're excited about that. And then on campus, wanted to thank again the Lunar New Year event. It was fantastic. I was able to step out of work and then come back with some fortune cookies. Thought about bringing some of the lettuce pieces, but I figured that might be a little bit more strange bringing back to the office. And then lastly, I got a chance to go to the Father Boyle speech as well this week, and wanted to reiterate how impressed I think everyone knows the work that CORE does, and then just wanted to give them a shout out again, and also thank the Retirees Association and the Foundation for their support of that program and all the work they do on campus. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Trustee Aragon?
Yes. I want to make sure I speak into this mic. I also had the opportunity to attend the Lunar New Year and African American combined activity, event that took place on campus. I wasn't able to go to the other Lunar New Year because I teach at that time, so I do send my good energy, and I heard good things about it. Also, I was able to attend the African American History Celebration in the Quad. That was a good time. And was it yesterday? Because the time seems to fly. Tuesday, I was here for the CORE and the Retirement Association's event that hosted Father Boyle on our campus. It was a very moving event. I know I was very moved, and he talked about, he called it "Cherish is Love with its sleeves rolled up," and his message was on how just cherishing individuals and giving them that feeling of belongingness, especially with the individuals that he works with at Homeboy Industries. We had some great student speakers from the CORE program, so it was very moving, and I appreciated being there. The last two things, I have been, meeting with Dr. Gomez in regards to how we can continue to support the individuals that were affected by the fires, especially our students who are working on continuing to do that. I had many within my constituent area, so I know this is being recorded, so I just want to make sure my constituents and students know that I'm here. So if there's anything that you need to contact me on, please reach out. I'm reading in the newspaper now that this evening they're expecting a new atmospheric river storm, so there's concerns about mudslides. So it's ongoing that we make sure we take care of our communities. The last thing I'll share is that I got an email from a former Puente student that I used to work with. Her name is Lucy Plasencia. She came from a family, there were about 5 students, her sisters and her brothers, that went through the Puente program here, both when I was running it and my predecessor, Yvette Rosas. She's hired now as a full-time counselor at Southwest College. She sent me an email. She's running their LGBTQ plus center. And so I just thought that it's really exciting to share the news about our former students, that they're doing great things out there. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Kwong?
So the fire chief in the city of South Pasadena, Chief Lloyd, has expressed an interest in getting to know a little bit about the Fire Academy. And so I've made an introduction to the dean, and he would like to seek some more information about that. It has also piqued the interest of several of the city council members that have also expressed a similar interest. So you might be hearing from them about that program. It was great to attend the Lunar New Year event by the International Student Center and also the event at Black History Month. I did not walk in the Camellia Festival, but I did attend right after the parade and toured the actual festival with an administrator from Temple City Unified, and had a chance to meet the students and their solar projects, and it was quite amazing the things that they did.
Oh, thank you. Trustee Chanao.
I'm looking forward to a tour with La Cañada School District Board Chair Carolyn Q. Anderson and Vice Chair Octavia Thus to come to PCC and to really look at our career technical education program for La Cañada School District students. There is certainly an effort to increase career technical education opportunities for high school students, and I believe that this is a great opportunity for parents to also understand what can be accomplished through career technical education for students that may not want to go the 4-year college route. And certainly after the presentation from geology professor, we can see that there are multiple options on the career technical education side. I also like to congratulate our PCC's athletic teams. I know baseball is in full swing, as well as women's basketball, and I hope that we will see many more championships in the end of spring. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Gibson.
Thank you. I want to give my gratitude to the WELL National Convention and Annual Convention for inviting me to speak this year. WELL is Water Education for Latino Leaders, a nonprofit organization here in California. And every year they have a conference of elected officials from around the state talking about water policy and how water is delivered, which is an important issue and has been an important issue around the fires that happened in the LA area in January. So it's something we need to continue to watch and keep a close eye on and develop better policies in the future. I also really appreciated the Lunar New Year event. It was great to hand out red envelopes for the Year of the Snake. I believe I was born in Year of the Sheep, but I still, wish the best for all the snakes out there. So that was a great event. I enjoyed an event here in Westerbeck with the Langston Hughes Project jazz performance with Dr. Ron McCurdy from USC. And there was also poems by LeBret Baker. It was a wonderful event. Really enjoyed it. So I'm so glad that that was brought here to campus. And we need to bring them back and have them do another performance. It was really wonderful. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you. First, thank you, everybody, for a robust discussion during our meeting today. I really appreciated what we were able to engage in today. I also had the opportunity to march in the Camellia Festival and Parade. It's one of my favorite events in the community every year, not just because I can walk to it from my house, which is very rare for me, but also because it really showcases the beauty of the community of Temple City that I'm grateful to have called home for such a long time. And I also was really excited to take part during the What Huts and welcome our students back to campus. I was paired up with Jesse, and it was exciting to see the life really pick up semester after semester here on campus and see students really back in full swing. I know we're a little bit into the spring semester now, but you know the What Huts are such a great opportunity to really engage with our students on campus. But of course, it's also just really exciting that to see that kind of energy. So I'm really grateful for that and everybody who took part in engaging and setting it all up. That concludes my report. Okay, next, proposed future board business meeting dates. Okay, proposed future agenda items.
I just had a question on this because this does say proposed. And what I was talking to the president, and I really appreciated the presentation tonight from the Geology Club, but I was wanting to hear hopefully from some of our empowerment groups like Puente and Ujima, Pathways, et cetera, within this year that we have coming up. So would that be an agenda item for discussion about calendaring it, or should we just do it?
I mean, you could talk about, well, we're on future agenda items.
Right,
We can talk
that's
about it now. But that's something that we can talk about with President Gomez offline to see what can be scheduled.
Okay,
Recognizing, of course, there's a lot of things that we could
Right,
get presentations on, but we want to make sure we're doing it in a way that doesn't stress everyone out. But that's something we can definitely talk about.
Okay,
Yeah,
I appreciate
absolutely.
that.
No, absolutely.
All right, thank you.
I think today's presentation was very fruitful, so. Okay, anybody have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Aragon. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Liu. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
No, don't.